Hello job seekers, Melanie Woods here with CGL Recruiting. And today we're going to be talking about the top 10 things you need to do to be sure you're ready for job fairs. Now we are starting to see things improve a little bit. Networking meetings are starting to happen in person and other things are starting to open up. And so what's going to happen as the economy continues to improve, companies are going to start having job fairs, not the ones online, but the ones in person. And I want to make sure everybody is prepared as possible. So we're going to cover through, like I said, the top 10 things that you need to do to make sure you're ready. Now, if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider going on right now, hitting that subscribe button, giving us that like and share to other job seekers, as it all really helps our channel. Let's jump right into the number one thing that you need to have done to be ready for all of these job fairs. Now, if you haven't gotten your resume in order yet, now is the time to do it. Make sure you watch our video on the 2020 applicant tracking friendly resume format and get that resume created so you are ready to give it out at the job fair. You also are going to need to have your cover letter ready and your thank you or your follow-up letter. You will not have time after the job fair to get all of these things done. You need to have everything you can done in advance. If you wait until the job fair happens to do that follow-up letter and know approximately what you're going to say, you're going to be too late getting it done. So the number two thing that you're going to have to do in order to get ready for these job fairs is to practice your interview skills. A lot of you have been spending a lot of time behind your computer applying for positions, answering questions on the phone. You really need to be able to work on your interviewing skills. Get a buddy, get a fellow job seeker. Let's work on these together and help each other out so you feel prepared and practiced and ready to answer whatever question is asked of you. Once you're ready with the first two, the next thing that you're going to have to do is do your research. Most of these job fairs will have a list in advance on their website of the different companies that are going to be participating in this job fair. As much as possible, go on to their sites, see what jobs they have open, see are there companies there where there's nothing that you're going to be interested in? Are there companies that are definitely ones that you're going to want to target? Make sure you know as much about the companies and the positions as you possibly can in advance. You will be so glad you did on the day of the event. Another great way that you're going to use this research is if when you're looking through these companies, you see a particular position that you really are excited about, you're going to want to do a cover letter specifically for that position. So when you visit that booth or that area for that company, you can provide them with the resume and the cover letter that is going to closely match that great role that you're targeting. Moving right along, our number 4 is you need a game plan. Now, I don't know how many of you have been to job fairs before. I've been to a lot of them on the HR side. And I will tell you, during 2009, during 2014, earlier ones, there are periods of time where there are more job seekers than others. And when you have a period like we're in today with so many job seekers, they are going to be packed. Now, there may have to be some kind of restrictions with still some social distancing in place, that there may be a limit as to how many people they let into the job fairs at a time. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see how the different companies approach this and see what they're going to do. But if there are not limits and there are just a lot of people there, I will tell you, you need a game plan. There is most likely going to be more companies there than you're going to have time to visit in your day that you're there. You need to have a targeted approach. So you're skipping ones that are just ones you're not interested in, and you're actually going to ones where there are jobs that you connect with. Don't get drawn to the crowds. A lot of times in a job fair, some company will be giving away some item or something, and they'll draw big crowds to their table. That does not necessarily mean that they have jobs that you're going to be interested in. Don't be drawn to the giveaways. Be drawn to the company that's going to have the job that you want. Make sure you come in with the game plan, knowing exactly which companies you want to hit. Our next tip for you to do really well at these job fairs is to make sure that you feel confident. And I mean this from the fact of your professional appearance. Now, it is always better to overdress rather than underdress in any interview situation. You can easily be forgiven for overdressing. You will not so easily be forgiven for underdressing. Now, a lot of us have spent a lot of times with COVID-19 at our houses and not doing a whole lot to the outside world. I think most of us are in need of a haircut. So if you do not feel comfortable with your personal appearance at this point in time, it can actually reflect in how you come across to the employer. Now, I'm not telling you exactly how to dress and how to do your hair and your makeup or anything. What I'm telling you is make sure that you walk in feeling your best. Feel confident. Know that you have a great background, great skills, great experience, and that you are worthy. It will make a difference as to how you come across to the companies that you're meeting with. Let's move on to our number 6 tip of things that you need to do in order to be successful at these upcoming job fairs. Now, I always recommend, if you're a job seeker, that you have networking cards. If you're not familiar with what networking cards are, we do have a video that covers that, and I will make sure that we tag that video so you can see those. If you do not have these, you are really truly missing the boat. They're not expensive. Please consider getting them. But some other things that I would like you to consider is you need to have some sort of name tag. Now, sometimes you will get one that's like this, where it's got like a lanyard with a place to put your name that you can wear. Sometimes you're just gonna get those little sticky badges that you can put your name on. What I would like you to consider is, with whatever type of name tag you get, to try and make yourself stand out a little with it. Make sure that you're not putting your name very small. Put your name very big on the name tag, and not just your first name. After the first 20 Steves that they meet, they're going to not remember you versus the other. Put your first and last name, and also, if you have room, if you have a bigger tag like one of these, go ahead and actually put what your profession is: human resources, engineering, accounting, EHS, whatever it may be. And that's another way to help you stand out. If you're also doing a lot of different networking or these type of job fairs, one of the things I also recommend is you get one of these printed name tags that'll always have your name on it and can have whatever your profession is. And they come nowadays with little magnets, so it's easy to stick on your jacket or wherever else you're wearing. These cost about like $10. You can get them almost anywhere printed. So they can be very beneficial to have that name right in front of the person who is meeting you. Now, if you don't want to spend the money to get one of these done and you're not sure if you're going to get something like this or a different name tag, you do need to make the effort to go out and get some of those sticker name tags or something so you have your name very visible. You want them to associate you with your name, your face, and the information that's coming out of your mouth, so you're more memorable in comparison with the rest of the candidates. All right, so we're already at our number 7 tip. And our number 7 one is you're going to need to adapt to the COVID post environment. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, one, there's very possibly going to be some restrictions in place. Like, for example, you may have to wear a mask. Now, if you've ever been to any of these job fairs before, oh my goodness, they are usually really, really loud because you have a ton of people trying to tell their story to all of these different employers. And so the volume level is quite loud, which is challenging enough when you're not wearing a mask. If you're actually having to wear a mask during one of these, you're going to have to compensate. Now, how do you do that? Don't take the mask off because you might offend somebody who works with the company, but you're going to have to speak louder and slower. And you are going to have to check with the individual who is listening to you to make sure that they're actually hearing you. Just say, am I loud enough for you? Can you hear me okay? And see if they respond positively. The other thing that you're going to have to adapt to in the COVID or post-COVID environment is how you actually greet this person. Now, the handshake, unfortunately, is no longer the way to go. There's going to be very few employers that are going to want to shake hands with 1,000 people at a job fair because of the concerns with COVID. So you're going to have to figure out how you are going to greet people when you meet them during these type of job fairs. Now, some people have just done the head nod. Some people have done the hand in this. Some people do the wave. It doesn't matter what it is, but the more that you figure it out in advance, the less awkward it will be then. I will tell you a great way to do it, though, in this environment of social distancing is to, instead of handing out your hand to shake, take your networking card and hand it out to them that way. It's a great way to get their attention. You're sure that they are focused on you. And once you have their attention, you have the opportunity to tell them everything that is great and wonderful about you and your experience. All right, moving right along to number 8. So for number 8, it's your elevator pitch. Now, if you don't know what an elevator pitch is, please go off and watch our video that we have on the elevator pitch. It is definitely worth your time, but I'm going to tell you, you have to change it up at a job fair. If you go to every single booth and say the exact same thing, it's going to come off as that. It's going to come off too rehearsed. So you do need to be a little fluid and flexible in your elevator pitch. Otherwise, you have the chance of your boredom with it is going to go through to the person that's listening. Now, also, too, if you have done your research and you've created this plan for this job fair that you're in and you have it with you, you can say, okay, I'm going to this company. I want to make sure they're looking for a process engineer. I want to make sure that I'm highlighting my process engineering skill. Oh, they're looking for somebody with customer service skills. I want to make sure the job that I highlight is with the customer service. As much as you can to get your information to them that's more customized to them in that elevator pitch, the better you'll be. Almost to number 10. So for our number 9, you want to have some questions or conversation starters ready to go. Now, the last thing that you want to ask somebody at a job fair is, tell me about what your company does. Because hopefully you've already done your research. And if you ask that type of question, you're going to put them into the mode of saying the same thing that they've said to the last 100 candidates. And that's not where you want to be. You want to be the person that stands out. So ask them a question. I looked online about your company and I saw the following information. That sounds really interesting. Can you tell me a little bit about this? Or I was very excited to learn that you have a sales department that is focused on new development in the healthcare market. Can you maybe shed some light for me on that? And get a question that's going to open up a conversation as opposed to a yes or no answer or a stock answer that they've said to the last 100 candidates before. The reason you want a conversation starter is you're trying to build a rapport with this person, just like the other hundreds of people that are next to you. Stand out. Take the time, create that conversation starter question so you can build that rapport with that person and have a better chance of getting remembered after the event is done. Okay, job seekers, here it is. What's our number 10 top tip that you need to do after you are at this job fair? It is follow up. Now, there is a good chance, I've been to job fairs where I kid you not, I have come back with a stack of resumes that is just incredibly huge. Who am I going to remember? Well, hopefully the one that's done the previous 9 steps, but also the ones that take the time to follow up. If you're taking that extra effort and you have that extra drive forward, it is going to make a difference with the company. Now, hopefully when you gave them a networking card or you gave them your resume, you also asked them for a copy of information that either had their email address on it or the company email or something. It'd be great if you can get their business card. That's best case scenario, so you can really follow up. You want to try and follow up with an actual note that helps them remember you and put a face to the name. How do you do that when they've met hundreds of people? Well, if you've watched our video on interviewing, I am one of those people that does not recommend you take notes during an interview. I recommend you do them after. For this, I also recommend after you leave a booth or leave an area and you walk aside, you take out your little notebook and you've got your plan and you write to that about that company. I spoke with this person, if you caught their name, and we talked about the following. It does not have to be a lot. It can be a small amount of data, but it can be critically important when you're doing a follow-up to say, thank you very much for answering my questions about the process engineering department. I really appreciate the time and effort that you took with me explaining how that function works. And let me again tell you why I think I could be a great addition to your team. And then bullet out the experience you have that matches what that job description is and what that company is looking for. If you take the time to follow up, you will have a much better response than if you're just one of those individuals in the stack of resumes that the company has. I hope this information was helpful. As always, please share this with other job seekers. Please give us that like and share if you feel like it was useful. It really helps our channel. Thanks so much, and I will see you next time.